So you want to build an amazing team in sort of Convallaria, but you don't want to waste your limited resources. And maybe all these rank options have you a little bit confused. Let me take you through how I look at characters, give you some tips on how to think about how to build them, and at the end of the video, I'm even going to show you an amazing tool from one of our valued community members. So stick around and let's talk about this a little bit. I'm here in the beta client, so I can show you what this looks like in-game. A lot of these systems are explained as you go through the tutorials, but I'm hoping this video can serve as a one-stop shop for you so you can come back to it if you have some questions you want to have answered. Let's start by getting rid of some of the simple things first and clarify some of the easier options that you go through. So I'm going to jump down here into the characters portion, and this is where you're going to find your roster of characters. If I go into any one of these, like let's pick for example this Fire Conjurer here, the first thing I really want to talk about is the level. The level itself can only go as high as basically your account level. So you see that I'm level 3 of 6. Levels are the most, basic part of your character growth and development. You're going to level up naturally just by using them within your parties. Over here, you also have an option to kind of skip ahead in levels. And if you do that, you're going to be using this thing called Common Experience. So far in the beta, this is dropped pretty readily. That said, as with all resources, I would consider when you want to use this versus when you need to use this. So if I come here into this plus, you see I just went up a level. Or I can go again and all the way to level 6, which is the max that I can do as of right now. So I'm just going to use this to show you it's a beta. I don't really care. We're not keeping these characters anyways. But now I've reached my max limit. What I would tell you when you're thinking about whether or not you should use those common crystals is really save them for two different things. One, you've got a future banner, you pull that awesome legendary that you've really been hoping for, and maybe you're already level 30 and you want to catch them up. That's a great time to use that common experience. Another place that you can use it is, let's say you're progressing through missions, etc., and maybe it's a little bit higher than you are, and you're struggling and you just need that little bit of extra push. That could be a good spot to catch up those couple of levels if you've fallen behind your character level. Next up on the character sheet here, and something less, I would say, obvious, is going to be this, and it's your alignments. So each character has a different alignment, and this can be used within certain skills. So depending on the kind of teams you want to build, there may be alignment bonuses to consider when you look at some passives and things like that. Now I'll show this to you later, but as you're selecting these ranks, there's a limited resource that you need to consider when you make these decisions, because it's not cheap to flip back and forth between your different skills. And so if you pick an alignment-based skill, like for example, you've got Area here, and another character's on your team who is not of the same alignment, they're not going to get that benefit. You want to be careful in selecting those, but do note the alignments. If you're running a full team, let's say you had, these first 4 characters right alone, they're all going to benefit from these sorts of passives. Another quick hit down here is just your character attributes. If I click on this, it's going to give me really good examples or definitions of what each of these different things are. So you've got your physical attack, your magic attack, your respective defenses, things of that nature. And this does a good enough job to explain it. But what I like to focus in on is just kind of pay attention to the keys here. So obviously this character, it's a mage, it's got higher magic attack. It has low physical defense and high magic defense. So I'm going to want to keep this character away from things that can hit me with physical damage, because I'm just going to take more of it. The last thing you want to do is throw what you think is a tank into your front lines just to have it nuked by a mage because it has no magical defense to speak of. So you don't have to spend a lot of time on attributes. Just look at it as a quick flash to understand a little bit about the way that your character is structured. All right, for this next piece, let's switch characters for a moment here. And let's talk about traits. Traits we should spend some time on. I'm going to go into this menu here. Each character starts with a trait at its base level. So for example, if I look at, what's the name here? Maitha, I might be saying that wrong, probably am. If I look at them, the natural effect here is when they block, damage received is reduced by 8%, and at the end of the turn, heal one ally, whoever is lowest in HP, by 20%, okay? I don't have to do anything to get this trait, it's just there to begin with. But as you look here, the traits can be increased in star levels. And as they increase, we're getting more percentages, we can get more effects. So for example, to go from star 1 to star 2, I go from 8% to 12% reduction in damage. And this goes all the way up to 5 stars. And so if I go all the way to 5 stars here, not only do I get a cool Ascended skin, you know, the fashionista in me is going to like that, but now my damage received is reduced by 20%, and I get 2 allies with that 20% heal. Okay, so it's a decent chunk of power up. How do you get this? This is where your duplicates come to mind, okay? You can unlock a star with your duplicate pulls, should you get them from banners. But let's be honest, that's going to be expensive. Unless you're wailing out, that's probably not the easiest way to do this. Or, well, it's probably the easiest, but it's not the most cost effective. For what it would cost to probably pull 5 dupes on a really valued character, I don't know, for me personally, that's a night out with my family. Probably I'm going to value that over a couple of stars, right? The other way to get it is through these memories, these memory crystals, if you will. And you'll see here, if you click on the little icon down here, it's going to tell you where to find these. And this is from Challenge Crossing Worlds, Memory Retrieval. It's a daily. So every day, if you're logging in, and I would say this is an important one to do so on, you can get up to, it's either 6 or 9 shards, I forget offhand, but you can do it once a day. And it depends on how many characters are in your team. And it's going to, over time, steadily build this up. Now, it's not quick, okay? It takes months. But that's free, okay? So you've got the option of, you know, either by luck or, you know, paying for it basically, getting duplicates to get there faster, or by saving up over time by getting these crystals. I'm probably gonna do the crystal method. I'm probably not gonna wail out or anything like that. Not even probably, I'm not gonna be wailing out, maybe a couple bucks here and there. But I also wanna note that I don't think you should feel like you're losing too much if you're not getting all these duplicates, right? The first couple levels are mainly going to be slight stat bumps, things of that nature. You're not getting like some character defining build that you're just missing out on in the game if you don't get this all the way up. So again, don't feel like you need to open up the depths of your pockets, again, unless that's just your thing, and I'm totally fine with that if it is. You can go into this daily, save up for it over time, and, you know, take a little pleasure in that slow burn and getting that experience of growth as you go throughout the game. All right, for the sake of this guide, I'm not covering equipment. Maybe I'll do a different guide on that later. Just let me know if you want it. We're going to talk about ranks. And this is probably what I would consider one, if not the most important part of your character to really spend time developing and thinking about before you just dump points. Let me find someone who's not used it yet. So let's pick this knight. Actually, I think I've already put one on him. I need someone else as a breaker. So I'm going to take this pikeman. If I go into ranks, to get to rank 1, you're going to see I need a material called a bronze breaker metal. To use that, I also need to get to level 5. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is pop in again. I'm going to just burn some things here and get this individual to 5. And then you're going to notice, and I want you to take note of the stats down here, okay, the character attributes. So when you go to rank 1, and then different levels above that, you're getting attribute increases. So you're naturally making your character inherently stronger, you know, on the battlefield. If I take this rank 1 and I upgrade, I've got a couple of these just from playing the story. I've gotten these different attributes, right? And I'm going to get to select a skill, at least for level 1. Now, if you don't want to select your skill yet, maybe you want to think about this, just know that you can press this little arrow to exit back, and I can pick it later. So don't freak out, because the first time I did this, I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to pick. Don't worry about it. You can back out and come back. Okay. Let me go back to Mytha. I'm so sorry if I keep saying that wrong for you. And now I actually want to use her. And I want to talk to you a bit about what it means to upgrade characters. When you pick your first of either side of this tree, this branch, whatever you want to call it, you get that skill, and the other skill, you're not going to be able to use it unless you spend a limited resource up here called Castalia. Again, apologize for mispronunciations. You'll see the sources, and I like that they do this in the game. Different places you can get them, like limited time events, Clash Quest, Fool's Journey, Star Collection rewards. From all the content creators I've watched and things on Discord, it sounds like this is a pretty rare material. So you do not want to unlock one and immediately go unlock the other side. Being that this is a strategy game, part of the journey that you want to consider is when you're doing those hard battles, those hard modes, what kind of team or teams do you need to bring with yourself? You know, maybe you're the type of player who wants a good, strong defensive line with mages or archers in the back. Maybe you're the type of person who wants to rely on a lot of auras and buffs and things like that. Think about your playstyle. Also consider the fact that within this game, from what I understand, there are some challenging modes where you can't use physical, or at least physical is highly reduced, or the same for magic. So you do need to spread some resources across different types of characters to cover those different holes. When you're building an individual character, like for example our friend here, you want to go through their skills before you pick your first skill. Now for me, I'm going to personally use this as a tank. I see her best benefits. I've already kind of jumped ahead and read these myself, but I can click onto any one of these and see what it's going to give me. And even though it gives me two different paths, it doesn't mean I don't want to jump between the tracks. So if I come down here, I'm going to show you an example of how I would think about building this character. So what do I want her to do? I want her to be a defensive powerhouse. I'm going to rely on her to protect my team, and I'm going to rely on my team to do the damage as much as possible. So she needs to be the meat shield of my group. So as I look at my different talents, this is what I'm thinking about. So for example, rank 1, I can either do guard. So it's a passive, and it takes physical attack for all allies within a 2-tile radius, so 2 of those blocks. And when triggered, my defense goes up by 20% once per round. So I'm taking a hit for somebody, and I'm going to take less damage because of this passive. Now on the other side, for code defense, for every ally within a 2-tile radius of this character, defense is increased by 10% up to a max of 40%. That's pretty strong. So if I'm keeping my group kind of stuck together, taking auras, things of that nature, then my defense can go up to 40%. So this one, I honestly could go either way. On the one side, I get more HP. I'm going to take a hit for somebody. Maybe I can put more people in the back line, and I'm not worried about them taking a hit. So like archers, mages, things of that nature. Or if I want to be more melee heavy, I might go with co-defense and consider keeping everyone more huddled together. Being a defender, I actually think both of these are pretty good. I don't think you go wrong on either one of them. But now let's go up to the next rank. So again, keep in mind I want to be a defender. So we have the skill, Come On Everybody. So when I get to rank 3, restore 20% HP, grants an attack 1 and a physical defense 1 buff. Now, if I click on these, it even tells you what these are, right? So a 10% increase, 20% increase. And the character takes enemy physical attacks for allies within a 2-tile radius for 2 rounds. So now I am going to take hits for other people while having better attack and defense. Not even just me, but to all within the 3-tile radius. So this is, an order basically. And so everyone around me, when I use this, gets stronger, and I'm going to take hits for them. On the other side, I have a charge that deals damage and knocks back enemies a couple of blocks. This would be great if I wanted to play her as a repositioner, if you will. But in comparison to stat ups, restoring HP, and taking hits when I want to be a tank, I'm going to pick, this other skill, Come On Everybody, looks like a piece of cheese to me, over the other one any day. And so then going through, this is what I think about as I go through them all. Endurance activation when healed, get damage reduction. If I'm not taking a heal every single turn, every 2 turns, this doesn't do anything for me. On the other side, when I take a melee hit from front or side, I trigger block. So again, I'm going to reduce some damage, and I counterattack. I can only do it once per round, but this gives me off-turn damage. Now, if I'm a tank who wants to get hit and take hits from my team, and I pair this with like this last skill where I know I'm going to take hits, well, now I'm retaliating damage when that happens. And I'm taking it under block, which is reduced damage. To me, picking that over endurance activation, which is more situational, no brainer. Here is a skill. We talked about this earlier in the video. This one here, Battle Flag of Convallaria. It's an aura, and it grants Sword of Convallaria allies 10 bonus attack and 20 bonus defense. So if the rest of my team, or anyone who is on my team that is of the Sword of Convallaria allies, they will get this buff. But what if they're not? It's a wasted skill. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that this isn't good. If you're building a team from the Sword of Convallaria crew, fine. They're getting some good flat stat bonus increases. There's nothing wrong with that. But when I was talking about knowing your alliances earlier, this is what I'm talking about. On the other side, single target heal for 30%. Given these two, I would probably pick the 30% personally. Rank 9, penetrating attack, deals 100% physical damage, gives a physical defense down, magical defense down on the target, and it lasts for 2 rounds. Or I can do a basic attack for 110% physical damage. Again, going from a tank, more supportive role, do I want to just do 1 attack for slightly more damage? Or do I want to debuff the enemy for 2 rounds so that my whole team is doing damage more? So if I've got an archer over here and a mage over there, when they're attacking, the enemy's taking more damage, and multiple of my team are attacking. So I think from this perspective, I would take a penetrating attack. And then your final rank up here, you've got flawless, so I get damage reduction, which is 40% damage taken reduced. Mind's Eye, which is decreased damage taken. Oh, actually, it's not showing me the right one. Mind's Eye, if I'm not mistaken, if they attack from behind, I think you turn around and actually block them. And I can't be disrupted. So there's a bug. I can't seem to click on these buffs. It's beta. What are you going to do? But no disrupt means I'm not getting debuffs, right? On the other side, I've got a massive attack. I'm going to do 20% damage 1 time, 50% damage 3 times, and I knock back the enemy, which gives me some situational positional control. Given, again, my journey of wanting to be a tank, I would take the more supportive one personally, but I don't think you'd go wrong having an amazing attack either. So again, there's no perfect way to build a single character. At least I would argue in most cases there's not. But when you go to pick your first of these rank up skills, this is the exercise I would encourage you to do when you think about hard modes. Rather than accidentally wasting one of these rare resources, this Castalia, to get the other side of the branch to possibly fix a mistake, think ahead a little bit. Think about the team you're going to build. What do you want this character to do? What weaknesses do they have? What strengths do they have? And how do you utilize that to the best of your strategic abilities? And then pick. When would I use these limited resources? I would say a couple things. One, the more accidental, hey, I thought this person was going to be great at this particular role. They're not, but I still want to use them. And I need to pick a different skill. Try to minimize that, but that's a valid reason. Another case is there are characters where both sides of the branch have really good situational uses. And you might have certain team comps that work well with one, certain team comps with another, or certain maps that just work better with a certain skill. If this is a character you're heavily investing in, maybe your favorite, legendary pull, or, one of your top pulls, that's when I would start thinking about using these. I would not use these on your common characters. I would not use these, just willy-nilly on whatever is out there, right? They're not that easy to get from what I can tell. I hope I'm wrong, but this is at least what I've noticed. So use them sparingly and think about these teams. Now, you might be saying to yourself, this is all well and good for the characters I can see within my character plan or my character roster here. But what about all these upcoming banners? I want to pull on people. I want to get educated so I can think about future pulls, future teams, future compositions. I have an amazing resource for you. And my friend, I'm sorry if I say your name partially incorrectly here, but Sefi, great community member over on Discord. Actually, I just literally watched one of his videos not 5 minutes before coming over here. Sefi has a website, I'm about to pull it up, called lootandwaifus.com. It's a resource that he's been building that has things like tier lists. It has things like character planners, things of that nature. So give me a second. I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to show you around. All right, so here we are on this web page. Again, great resource. And I want to show you a couple of things that might help you as you try to inform yourself on how you want to build your teams. So first of all, it's got a guide page. I'm not going to roll through all of this. It does have a tier list. I'll make a separate video another day for my thoughts on tier lists and my own personal experiences. But if you are curious, because this game has been out in other regions for a while, what's been the kind of go-tos? It's got them right here. And my favorite thing, and what I've been on quite a bit in the last few days, is this characters page. And this is where you can come and find future characters and decide what kind of path would I want to take with them. So I've been looking at Gloria. Spoiler alert, it's going to be my first major pull, I believe. Looks too much like Agrius for me not to pull her from a Final Fantasy Tactics junkie over here. But he has all the different passives at the different star levels, all the different skills you can get. And so if you want to know in the future, what is it that I want to build around? Please come to this site. Again, a lot of good work has gone into here. Throw him a thank you on Discord. Matter of fact, I'm going to link his YouTube down in the description as well as this website. So feel free to pop him a sub and a like on a couple of videos while you're over there. But use this resource. I think it's phenomenal. And I think I'll be using it quite a bit going forward as I try to plan out my own teams, my own kinds of strategies. All of this boils down to a final key thought. If you want to tackle the hardest content in Sword of Convallaria with the limited resources that we get, then get comfortable at this character sheet. Learn your traits, plan ahead, think about those team compositions, use the tools out there to do so. There's nothing worse than putting all your resources into a character to find out that you don't like the way they play or you built them wrong and then you shelve them later. Jump down in the comments, let me know some builds you're thinking of, some characters you're planning on building. I would love to hear your thoughts. And while you're down there, if you don't mind tossing me a like and a sub, it helps this video get out to more people. Until next time.